All right, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining our first virtual boot camp. And this is really exciting to kick off the event with many exciting projects and we call the global digital collaborators. And I will explain why I call that in today's session. So the boot camp is really designed to provide a communication vehicle, not just Zoom, but actually multi-channels to everyone so that they can actually exchange ideas about what's happening in the industries and what kind of tools and approach or strategy we can adopt to help every companies, nonprofit, for-profit, and all agencies. Okay, so let me just start off and thank you for everyone to joining this historic event. And let me just share with you a couple of slides and we will start the session. All right, so we are planning to do this every quarter so that we can actually invite other digital collaborators to share their experience and insights about what works, what has not worked, and how we can improve it. So we are all learning together. I put down this comments, this kind of trial and error for the next game changer, right? So now we got 3 weeks, 3 Saturday mornings starting today, and basically we will go through all the aspects of hosting a virtual conference. Now, so some of you already done many. You're the pro, and that's why you're part of the team here, all helping each other. Some are just started, so you know it's okay to get started with fresh ideas, but some of the key basics ideas that I'm sure all of you know. So the first week today is really to kick off the boot camp with the big picture. You know, what's happening in the market and how we going to help all these communities with COVID-19 crisis and so forth. And we'll go through the assignments later. Now, the second week is really drilled down on all the aspects of how to do this and how to many things. So I'm sure you have all kinds of ideas or actually questions about it. Now, the assignments for week 2 is to launch your what we call the virtual expo. But they can mean different things. It can mean virtual conference or whatever. Now, the last week is really putting everything together. All right, so your job is to get all the pieces together, right? Start with the virtual booth, right? So that's what we kind of go over today, and just make it happen. Now, we don't expect, you know, all the pieces there. I mean, obviously 3 weeks is pretty tight, but it's a great exercise to go through the process that you know what to expect and what not to expect. All right, so this is kind of the assignment. Pretty simple, and we'll go through that later today. You know, what is virtual booth, what are the functions, what you can do with it, and what are the things that you cannot do with it, right? All right, so it's less available. Well, all right, great. Well, we're gonna kick off the event with our keynote speaker, uh, Les Hamasaki. He's a member of eZ-XPO Advisory Board. He has, if you look at his record, I mean, it's an amazing guy. He's a visionary. We start off with Les 7 years ago. I think it was at a trade show in Southern Cal. I think it was the Green Tech Expo trade show. And then he told me, well, you know, we're not getting a whole lot of leads in the physical trade show. You know, why don't you consider doing it virtually? Well, at that time, we was doing online training, online learning. I said, what trade show, you know, what virtual expo? So he and I kind of talked about this a little bit more, and then that's how eZ-XPO got started. So so he is a big picture visionary person, and he was the commissioner for the Los Angeles airport. So they definitely had a long-term planning in mind and on everything else. So I'd like to invite Les to give everyone a big picture overview on how we can make the world better with the platform. Les is here. Let's see if I can find Les here.
Hi.
Okay, Les, you're on.
Oh, okay. Hi, how are you?
Great, great. So if you can introduce yourself and actually share with your vision with everyone, how we can use the platform to solve some of the crises that we are facing.
Well, I think just for my introduction of background, you know, I've had a lot of experience in the planning side of things. I was involved with the city of Los Angeles as an urban planner for many, many years. And our background is basically looking at 20 years in advance and expect what we might result for the present. And so we, you know, we had our concepts in terms of problems, and so we're problem solvers. And so as an urban planner, we were dealing with you know, things like the transit system, and as a planner, I was involved with the city of Los Angeles and in the Hollywood area, and we looked at the future in terms of how Hollywood can become very important in that period of time. And so, and I was involved with the Inland Empire, which is another big area. So looking at the future, I think the opportunity is we're right in the middle of the transition of a millennial generation that is going to create a new future. And as you look at the transition of our economy from a centralized energy system to a decentralized opportunity, these are all changes that are playing. So my background and interest is creating a sustainable future and looking at the environment as a major problem to solve. And this is where I'm looking at in terms of how to create a more sustainable future with ability for individuals to become more independent. And one of the things that I'm looking at right now is developing at my church these vertical farms where an individual like anyone can grow things in a tower gardens without less 90% less water. For example, no pesticides and herbicides. And I think the future is really becoming very important in terms of our ability to become sustainable in growing our own food and medicine in nature's pharmacy in the healing of Garden of Eden to combat hunger, pain, diseases, and create a sustainable, healthy future. So that's sort of the focus that I have with my church in Little Tokyo. And so this is something that, as a planner, I see that's happening where we have a crisis of COVID-19, as well as really the conversions in terms of poverty, at least from where we're located in Little Tokyo. We're right next to Skid Row, and we have a major problem there. And so when you look at the unemployment picture, we really have to rethink in terms of what the future will be. And it's going to last for a couple of years now. And I think this is a struggle that planners are looking at. The city policy leaders are wondering what are kind of jobs that are going to be the future for the people that are coming in. I'm 81 years old, and I've been around and seen a lot of things. And hopefully, the future, when I see things that's happening economically and politically and socially and environmentally, these are things that we have to really integrate in terms of our planning. And so when I've written a lot of articles about the workerless and workless society, where the future is going to be more in the distributing side of things, because with the digital technology, we're thinking when we see things happening very quickly, this is something that's going to change in terms of how we look at how cities are being created and how the opportunity of a decentralized urban system where we have smaller communities will be the future. And with the digital technology, you don't have to be in downtown Los Angeles necessarily to come to work. You can do it from your home, like right now a lot of people are doing it. So my thinking is when you see the future where on one side you have the artificial intelligence, taking over jobs that are highly, whether it's the doctors or lawyers that now are integrated in terms of the information that's available. And then on the right other side, you have the, robotics taking over jobs. And then in the middle, you have Amazon taking retail jobs. These are the future that we have to rethink in terms of the future, in terms of opportunity for at least the millennial generation in terms of how they're going to be participating in this economy. And so when you look at the the problems that we're having with COVID, this is something that it's really a difficult situation for us to really sustain. And with the the virtual technology that's now being where you can talk to people from all over the world. This is something that we can really be in the forefront of. And I know Matt was involved with that many years ago, and this is something that at least at that time when we were looking at when we were looking at international trading, we said we can go to anywhere in the world to be part of a you know trade show on a virtual area uh, with the people that have been going on these virtual trade shows that are basically financed by big companies. Now it's an operating where it's open to a lot of people. So anyway, this is something that I think the group can start talking about the changes and the opportunities and possibilities of the future. So anyway, that's my kind of pitch this morning. I'm kind of new to all this game in terms of technology, so I'm trying to learn as we go along. So anyway, that's my pitch. So,
Thank you, Les. You might want to kind of mention a couple of things that you're currently working on the virtual urban farming. And what do you see how eZ-XPO will help to connect all the dots in the virtual urban farming area?
well, like I said in the at the church that we have 10 of these towers. That's in the patio there, and we're growing a lot of food. And we have on Sunday we have a Green Harvest Sunday, where the people of the members come in and pick their vegetables that they want that we have, and this is something that will be happening because when you look at the food problems that we're looking at, the contamination of the food supply, all of these things are dependent on a distribution network and centralized. And well, the initially that when we kind of into the vertical garden about 4 years ago, where we use 90% less water because nothing is in the ground. It's all automated, and you don't have to do anything. I'm the one that sort of the farmer John there at the church, and although we have somebody hired once in a while to put the seedlings in, and but everything is automated, and so the future is really in these industrial factory farms that you're going to see, and it's in your neighborhood, and you can grow your own food and medicine. And basically the future that at least one of the things that we have looked at, outside from the church, is the cannabis area, and the hemp is going to be very, very important in terms of the future in not only medicine, but food, but building materials as well as fabrics. So those are things that are kind of changing in that area. But for people that are really interested in farming without dirt, and I can see from my own personal self where I have a garden in the dirt, and many of these plants that are coming up, like Swiss chard, is full of holes in the leaves, and because of all this things that the pests that are in the dirt, it really creates a problem unless you put all this things to prevent it. And so in a garden situation, in a tower garden, it can be controlled. And in the greenhouse, you can have it growing, it doesn't have to sleep. It grows 365 days a year. And you can have that a food supply on an on time basis. So it's going to be the future of food. And so uh, we're sort of getting our community involved with that because of the crisis. And before it was something that people were looking at as a hobby, but now it's becoming a crisis situation. And when you see the long line of people trying to get their food and all this stuff, we got to think sustainably, and we got to reduce the consumption, because we're basically an economy of waste and greed, and kind of more is better kind of stuff. So I think we we have to rethink the future of how we live in a more sustainable society. And so that was something that hopefully he'll catch on. And I think many people right now at the church are thinking to help the people that are in the community, the homeless people. We're trying to see if we can become part of the food and nutrition area, and we're trying to even get the retirement homes starting to learn how to grow their own food on their rooftop and so forth. So this is something that it's really easy and convenient, and it doesn't have a lot of work. It can be fun. So anyway, if you have any questions, I can
Yeah, thanks, Les, for your great sharing on the big picture. Does anyone have any questions for Les?
Yeah, I do. Les, do you have anything you could show or talk about the cost or the mobility of the tower? Maybe a few more details. Can it be mobile, moved, that kind of thing?
Oh, I'm quite. I didn't hear you well.
You can't hear me?
Pardon?
Yeah, Mike wants to find out about the cost for the tower, the urban farming tower.
Yeah, it's the towers. It's like the ones that we have. We got it from one of the companies, and it's about. It was about $500 when I bought it with the pump and everything else, and $50 a month kind of stuff. Now there's groups that you can have 10 of these towers that's with 444 plants, and it's like I think about $9,000. That includes the towers with the storage system that's automated and all that kind of stuff. So it's really inexpensive. So one of the things that we're trying to do for the at least the community is to develop a distribution network where people can grow their own food, but we'll have a centralized program where they can become part of the urban farming network with farmers market kind of thing within the community, so they can all participate in the food supply for the community, growing the various types of vegetables. Primarily the ones that are rooted there, like Swiss chard and bok choy and things like that. But there's a lot of things that are available for many for people to plant, And my problem is really not, you know, I'm not a farmer or anything like that, but I'm sort of a planner, and it's kind of difficult to remember all the names of these plants that people are trying to get. But my thinking was that eventually, through a cell phone, the plants that you see, whether it's a bok choy or whatever, that is, will tell you whether that plant would be good for your diabetes or arthritis or things that could be help for your health. And so we need to have that technology to make it easier for people, for us to understand what kind of plants that we should grow for that might help our health, you know.
I've just two quick questions. One, could you drop your contact information in the chat box? A, and B, can everybody else drop their contact information in the chat box as well?
Okay. I'm not sure what the chat box.
Mike, I will send your information. I think we'll actually have probably 30 minutes, maybe in the middle of after 2 hours or so. We're going to have a roundtable introduction. So that will basically help everyone to get to know each other. It's all about part of the collaboration.
Thank you.
So, yeah, thank you, Mike. Just want to make another comment is that, when Les mentioned about the connecting all the stakeholders, and this is where, eZ-XPO fits in. And actually, Kim will talk about that next week. And part of the presentation is how we help local community, using the platform to connect multiple stakeholders, whether it's a farmer, local farmers, or restaurant or grocery. And part of the challenges is that, everybody is running in silos. And that's why I actually use the what we call digital collaborator, is to kind of bridge the gaps across all the silos. All right. Well, thanks, Les, for your exciting, inspirational speech. What I want to do is to kind of give everyone a kind of 50,000 feet big picture on how all these pieces that actually coming together, that, and why eZ-XPO is the perfect solution to address all these issues. Now, this presentation was prepared about 6 months ago, actually a little bit more than 6 months. But some of the key components, when I actually put together, it's becoming a reality. Because of the COVID-19 situation and whatever, actually everybody is kind of accelerating this virtual network ecosystem. And so let me get started.
3 trade shows every.
Okay, so I'm going to bypass this. So this is kind of what I want to share with everyone. We have many global digital collaborators from around the world, probably over 8 or 9 now. Starting from Canada, Ghana, Hong Kong, Philippines, Mexico, Nigeria, South Africa, UK, and Saudi Arabia. So this is really amazing. Every day I receive customer requests how to join eZ-XPO to help the local community. And I think this is just the beginning. And this is another reason why we need to do this virtual boot camp, because I don't have all the information, obviously. It's part of the collaboration channel that we're going to use through the platform to share information and insights from everyone. And this is really a tip of the iceberg. We're actually starting. So just briefly on my background, I spent many years in the high tech. I got my electrical engineering from Cal Poly and actually went on to IBM, got my MBA. Also, oh, where's my picture? Okay, cool. And I did, but I actually been actually teaching for many years. I actually I'm an online assistant professor for some of the top online universities. So online teaching is my daily thing, you know. So I use different tools, Adobe Connect, obviously Zoom. Now, one of the things that I see was happening, actually I started my own company, e-learning Zoom, many years ago. And before I started eZ-XPO, and, you know, and I realized that, you know, online training is only one key component of everything. Now we call it digital transformation, right? Before we didn't know, well, it's just another component of applications. But when you look at the big picture for digital transformation, is many different aspects of it, right? Everything we do, whatever department you're in, whether it's marketing, sales, and customer service, that's the applications. And I actually used to be a senior product manager at Oracle, IBM, AT&T, responsible for multi-million-dollar projects for enterprise applications. So these are some of the customers we actually signed on in the last few months. It's actually, it's just amazing. Now that some of you actually one of those customer actually part of this game-changing trends is happening. So so it's very clear to us, or to me, that this we call the acceleration. You know, if you look at the high tech curve, it's always you know, when you're in the emerging phase, people are not sure, you know, not sure this is the right thing, but then for whatever reasons, well, it could be a COVID-19 in this case, this thing basically takes off, and just like what's happening to Zoom. Well, this is, I'm just going to share with you some of these customers that we're actually working with. Waters Corporation is it's part of the S&P 500. It's a multi-billion-dollar corporations. They actually did a virtual expo, first expo last week. It went pretty well. But the key here is that we see more companies that, hey, all these trade shows and stuff got canceled. Well, we got to do something, right? Well, they actually gonna do the show themselves, right? So that's what's happening here. Adobe American Diabetic Association is happening starting yesterday. So we can go on. We're actually part of the whole ideas is that using the virtual boot camp to share, well, not just from me, hopefully from everyone here, is to share your experience, how we can improve, obviously, what we can learn, and how we can make things better. Now, let's start off with the basics, right? You know, we talk to any companies in any sizes, local business, Fortune 500. The biggest challenge right now is find the next customer, right? And companies spend like thousands of dollars, billions, just for that. If you look at the customer acquisition costs, okay, this is this is really and what's happening here. And we talk about it's been growing very high because of all the ads and stuff. One thing is for sure, all these advertising stuff are not sustainable. And that's why, well, that's why Google's and Facebook are so happy, right? Because company are just keep paying and paying every day. There's no end to it. So this whole traditional model, it's gonna crush. It's not gonna sustain with this situation. Now, and this is kind of give you a perspectives on the customer acquisition cost by industry. Now, obviously, technology got all the money, and they can spend more, but still not going to sustain, right? So you can see that the next one is banking and insurance and real estate. So so what does it mean to you? Well, it means opportunities. Now, if you look at the average SMB, small, medium size market, startup costs, you know, you got the acquisition, customer acquisition, onboarding, training, talent acquisition, like recruiting. That three pieces represents about 30 to 60% cost of the whole company. That's huge, right? So if you do the math, right, if you can have a solution that can help maybe not 10%, maybe 5% of each, that's huge, right? So we are really looking at the what we call the virtual expo very differently. Now, all the other guys are looking at just doing the events and one-off events. That's fine. We can do all that. But they're missing the big picture, right? They're missing this big picture, which is a lot more, I think, more profitable. And that's actually have major impact on companies, right? So why virtual collaborative network, right? That's a big question. We see a customer asking, well, how's your solution different from others? Now, obviously, I'm not going to go through the whole pitch with that because most people don't understand. We can only do the basics one. Our solution is solving the biggest problems in the world, right? Those three pillars. If you look at our emails with my banner, I always have those three pillars, right? Promotion, training, recruiting. Those three major pillars represent 30 to 60% cost of every company. So you can provide a solution solving maybe 5 to 10%. That's a big deal, right? So obviously the first pillar is what we call the virtual expo, and that's why a lot of you, all of you, actually came to eZ-XPO for that reason. Now, the second major solution we call the virtual training. That's actually how I started with eLearning Zoom before I started eZ-XPO. And teaching online that's my everything thing. It's so that's my core competencies with skills and also technologies. Now the third one, we see a lot of traction on that because of the unemployment rates and also from many state government agencies are trying to provide what we call the matchmaking, right? Think about virtual job fair, right? What is it? Well, you try to match the right employers with the right job seekers, right? Now, in traditional model, you would just put together a job fair and actually invite people to show up. But you know, many will find that it's not very effective, right? Because the job seeker wait in a long line, submit the resume. What happens? Well, they just wait. I mean, why can't they just submit the resume online, right? And very few would actually get interviews. It's, well, maybe very, I mean, nobody has the time to actually review everything. So the whole process, the whole workflow process is broken. And that really explains why we call this, we call the digital collaborator. Why we call that? Well, you heard about digital marketing, right? Well, that's everybody knows what that means. But digital collaborator is, your job is to connect all the dots. Now, there are many dots here, right? Well, right now you just see 3 dots, but every dot's, okay, we got more people coming. All right, so we have many dots in each aspect of business. Doing a trade show, both physical or virtual, is a big operation by itself. Same thing applies to virtual training or virtual job fair. We talk about 3 different departments. But one thing is for sure, that we can leverage the platform to connect all the dots. That's where digital collaborator's job is, to provide the basics, start off with the job, virtual expo, and then gradually move to the virtual training or even job fair. Now that leads me to talk about all the bits and use cases and features. Now, some of you, or actually all of you, have seen this picture. Expo is kind of doing the matchmaking, right? Buyers and sellers, right? And some of the features that we have already in there, like CRM integrations, marketing analytics, it's already there. On the right side, right here, you can take the same platform and convert it for online training. Now, when you talk about online training, it's not just Zoom. Obviously, you can do Zoom for online training, but we talk about online courses. We call the drip content, campaign, quiz assessments, and those sort of things. And then you move to the left, the job fair. You can take the same platform and apply for skill assessments, onboard training, and so forth. So this is a multi-facet, multi-use cases, multi-purpose applications that you can adopt to any of these use cases. And it kind of depends on what you're looking for here. But obviously, not 80% start off with the Expo, where we have 30-40% start with the training and also the job fair. And the beauty of this is that we have all the key components that are critical and needed to do all these things. And then that is the beauty of the platform. Now, obviously, the last piece is the contest. This is we have won the largest virtual incubator in Saudi Arabia. Just signed up with us to actually launch the first virtual demo and hackathon for all the startups. So this is another great use case over here. Virtual Expo. So this is the one what's happening right now is the American Diabetic Associations coming to the platform with actually some of the top pharmaceutical companies. Virtual training. So this is just an example how it can be done. Inviting all the subject matter expertise have their own virtual booth so that they can have it ongoing or both on demand or live at the same time. And then the virtual job fair. Now here's the virtual pitch. So now I'm going to get to all the key features and maybe in the second half of the sessions, but this is kind of high-level overview. The way the platform is structured is that we really want to make it simple. And the challenge is that there's always trade-offs, right? When you make it simple, that means you lose the flexibilities. So there's got to be some balance, and it's a tricky part to design a platform that can be flexible enough to do many things. Obviously, not 100% guarantee, I tell you, but at least 80%. So I always, as a product manager, I always try to focus on what are the key features are the most critical, right? And well, you know, it's hard to tell, right? I mean, well, some are pretty obvious. Some customer are pretty critical. So to most customer may not be too critical. But that is kind of thing that we have to sort it out. That's a product management's job that we face every day in corporate, even working for IBM, Oracle, AT&T. That's the nature of the beast, because you never have all the resources to solve all the problems. But one thing that I keep in mind is that when don't get me wrong, we're open for any suggestion to make it better. But there's certain feature that we just don't have the resources to get to it, but we will get to it over time, and that's for sure. Over the years, we actually we're on the 4.0 releases. We're actually making a lot of changes over time in the last few years. But here's the thing that I want to say that is that the virtual booth is one of those things that you can configure for many different purposes. If you're in a business of a trade show, obviously you can configure it for trade show. That's pretty obvious. Now, if you're in a business for training or coaching, you can do the same. You can obviously customize it. Maybe turn off certain features or functionalities. Make the background screen look more like a training or coaching. That is something you can do right now. Same thing for job fair and things like that. The virtual auditorium. This is one thing. It's quite critical to many organizations. You know, every day we talk to many different companies and organizations. Having a more like a session track is critical, and that's also part of this. And the networking lounge. All right, so let me just kind of summarize some of the key benefits. And obviously, the first one is pretty obvious. It saves costs and time, and more traffic and leads. Well, if you can provide a virtual network ecosystem, or we call it the Netflix model for trade show and conferences. And the thing is that if you just put together a virtual show and expect people to show up, what do you expect? The outcome. It's not the best, obviously, right? Nobody just want to show up anything for whatever, right? We got to learn from the Netflix model. We got to learn from the Amazon.com model, right? Why they're so successful. One thing is for sure, that is that you got to provide reasons for people to show up. And that's exactly why we build out this work called the virtual network ecosystem. That people come back over and over again, not just to see something, not just to want to buy something, but there are other values that you provide. Higher SEO ranking. Now, this is one thing I don't talk about much because that's not really a focus, but that's like a bonus. Because if you do Google Live in Auditorium, what I mentioned earlier, or even in virtual booth, you feed content, fresh content and video to Google Google search engine and YouTube Live, and that's going to help boost your SEO ranking. They already done enough studies that anyone actually do a lot of YouTube Live, you will get a booster on your SEO ranking because your keywords will be, will be more, will go higher in the SEO traffic and ranking. Talent recruiting, well, that's part of the solution, and that's kind of what we expect. Higher customer loyalty. Well, this is one thing that, going back to the same basic questions. We talked about, why Amazon.com or Netflix and all these other guys are so successful. Well, one word: network. They have the network effects. So and that's really going to drive customer come back over and over again. And this is why I basically suggest customers is to, if you are planning to do it on a regular basis, you definitely should have more than one expo. In fact, we actually have one customer, actually in Colorado. They start off with the bridal show. They start with one, now they're starting with the second one, with the home expo. So this is the trends. It's happening. I think because it makes sense, because you want to be the Netflix model for your own industries, and that's how you're going to differentiate from everyone else. Everyone else would try to push their products to people's throat. Buy this and buy that. Well, we get it, right? But we have to provide more added values, content, and solutions. Well, the last piece is of course, the training part, which is part of it. It's one of those things that you got to provide multi-facet, multi-stakeholders approach. That's the whole reason why we want to have a boot camp. That's why we want to use the Virtual Expo collaborative network for this as a foundation, so that everybody can share their insights with a platform. So this is really going to help expedite the whole process for helping everyone. All right, so the last couple pieces, and I want to take a 10 minutes break after this, is why this digital collaboration, right? I call it digital collaboration revolution, right? Well, the first opportunity obviously is the COVID-19. This is a banner. Actually, I got that from Twitter. It's just amazing to see those numbers, right? We talk about multi-billion dollars opportunities. You talk about 6 billion jobs lost. Well, I'm not sure how much is to do with events, but this is kind of the major impact. But this is what's happening to us. Every day we got bombarded with customer requests, and all these companies are, I would say 80-90% are from in-person events. And they are scrambling to convert from in-person event to virtual or hybrid. And we will go into this next week, and what type of strategy that you should consider doing that. But the opportunities, it's just huge. And this is another reason why we need a boot camp like this to train everybody, to get trained on the platform itself. Don't expect to be an expert overnight. It's going to take some time, but it's not rocket science, you know. The second opportunity, I think, is one of those not easy to see. That's huge. We talk about the collaborative sharing economy. Now, if you do a Google search or get you some number, like we talk about $700 billion market size, you've probably seen Airbnb, Uber, and all those things, right? What we talk about sharing economy is not those in our perspective. We talk about sharing economy in terms of traffic. We talk about sharing economy for knowledge, right? So there are many different aspects of it. But just look at the traffic itself, you know, the whole online advertising market is about $200 billion. So if you can help companies to save a small percentage of that, that's huge, right? So I know a lot of small businesses, they don't know better, but they use the Facebook ads, keep paying them thousands of dollars. Why? Well, they want to find the next customer. Well, we all get it, right? But if you can help collaborate with the local chamber of commerce and put together a virtual network, Expo network, that can give them organic traffic and leads. And most importantly, these are all qualified, right? It's not just traffic. So that's a big deal. So this is one area I think everybody should really get excited about this, because this is totally untapped. Nobody actually even think about this at this time of the moment. Most of them are thinking about this. But they don't realize that if they do this, the first one, they will get to this. That's the beauty of this. But you got to start from this somewhere. The next one is the digital transformation. I mean, this is, we talk about $100 trillion by 2025. That's obviously huge number, right? This is kind of, I got that from this article, CXO Talk, from a traditional model to a digital CIO mindset. And this is exactly what we're talking about here. It's the key word here right there is collaboration right there. That is why we call digital collaborator, because this is the skills, this is the must-have that we need to close out all these silos across organizations. Now the third piece is this is just amazing. We'll get to that, but this is another huge opportunity. And one of the things that we want to do is to provide a platform that you can even go IEO or ICO with a platform with blockchain. That's part of our product roadmap, is to build out the blockchain, add on to the platform, and reward and provide tokens to every organizer or every sponsor, every attendee. Imagine tomorrow that you say to all the sponsor, hey, you sign up with us and host the events, guess what? You get a token from us for free. And that token can worth millions of dollars. How'd you like that? All right, well, this is my last slide before we take a break for 10 minutes. Well, let's get to the bottom line, right? Why eZ-XPO? Well, this is the big picture that I want to show everybody, is that we have virtual players, right? Not direct competitors, because none of them actually provides what we offer, first of all. And our goal is over here, right? You know, I don't know if you actually read the book Blue Ocean versus Red Ocean. We're the blue ocean. We don't want to compete with all the other guys. And because there are a lot bigger markets out there. Let them, these are the guys actually on 24 in Expo, they're no longer really pushing virtual anymore. They're actually in webcasting. The one that actually we come across is 6Connects, maybe VFair, and Heifer, I think it's Heifer Fair or something like that. But there are more one-off events, and they're extremely expensive. We talk about 10,000 minimum to over 100,000 per event. So we're nothing close to that range. And they are very complex and not very easy to do. So our goal is to make it easy, simple, make it affordable, and make it more recurable, or repeatable in a way so that association or any organization can do virtual expo in a matter of minutes or hours, just like what you do in a webinar. And the key and the reason for that is that the more you do, the more you can boost your SEO ranking, the more you can drive more traffic and leads to all the sponsors. And that's exactly why we over here. And longer term, I think you want to do it with multiple virtual expo network all connected to drive the organic traffic. So that is why we are so different from everyone else. You know, I hope, yeah. So anyway, that is our kind of big picture slide deck for eZ-XPO, why you join this new digital collaboration revolution. All right, so I'm gonna open up for any Q&A.
This is Barry and Matt. My question to you is: are you going to walk us through an actual show today, or show us how to actually?
Second half, yes, second half.
Good enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt, Barry again. Marketplace 365. As I mentioned to you in the past, that's who I went to several years ago. And yes, they were very expensive, and I wasn't able to get what I wanted because whatever the reasons. Have you looked at them seriously and how they operate today, and how good are we against something like that? And they charge a lot of money. Do we have the same services sort of that they provided, which is, by the way, a little complicated. It wasn't easy to get into. It wasn't what I consider user-friendly. How is this eZ-XPO for us, which, as you mentioned in there, going after the chambers, that's my main target right now, is who we're going after.
Yeah.
Participate.
We don't see them anywhere in any projects or bids at all. Okay. Nobody even mentioned them. The one that actually is top of my list on radar is vFair. vFair is one of those, but they charge very expensive, with, like I mentioned, 10,000 to 100,000 per event. Now, how many customers you think can afford that? Okay.
Well, that's the
in fact, yesterday I had a customer. They got a quote for from vFair about 15,000 per event, and he said, "Was joking. This is no joke. This is how much they charge. We talk about $15,000 per event." Now, obviously, there are other components that were different from, like what I mentioned before. We're the only company, let me repeat, the only company offering virtual expo network. No other companies. That's, I mean, this is part of the network ecosystem that we talked about. You know, so, you know, this is really the key. The virtual expo network is the key, because if you just don't, I definitely want to just compare that's the pricing. Obviously, they're extremely expensive, but it's not very easy to use. I'm actually working with a couple of event planners. They actually try to they've been using vFair. Now they're coming to us. Okay, and the key here is that they focus on one-off events. One event, once a conference. Well, this most of the customer traditional model. That's the traditional model. Our solution is not just one-off event. It's every day, every month, and that's how we are very different from everyone else. Okay. Any other questions? thanks, Barry, for those questions. I mean, I think this is really important for you to share with the team. You know.
Yeah, and I hope that the whole team will work together. That's great. And I do agree with you. What I have searched is the economics of it, and that's a driving purpose for us to get together. The education of actually watching and going through it is, I'm looking forward to your next session.
Just a quick comment, Matt.
Yeah.
For everybody, this is Mike. I have been doing a documentary and researching the gig economy, which is, does everybody know what the gig economy is? Freelancers, independent workers, you know, professionals. And I've been working with Matt on that for years. So he's really been ahead of the curve on the new emerging gig economy. Just so everybody knows, we've done speaking gigs together about it. So I really respect everything that Matt is about, and he's really stayed very, very current, not only with the technology, but with the economy of making money today.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Matt.
Matt, this is David. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You, on one of your slides, you put that your current platforms that you guys currently use, I guess more social media platforms. I saw Facebook, Periscope, and I believe I saw another one. Are you guys expanding that part of it, or are you guys just sticking right now with Facebook, Periscope?
Yeah. The part of the strategy is to provide the integrations. I think it's this one, right?
Yes. Yeah. The YouTube.
Yeah, we do have integration with all three in each booth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you guys planning on expanding that a little more as social media platforms rise up? Like just so many. I know there's every.
There's just so many.
Yeah.
I mean, it's well, for sure that we definitely need to add LinkedIn to it.
Yes.
Other than that, not sure, but you know, definitely we'll monitor the trends happening.
Yeah, because I know you mentioned, you know, the millennials. I'm not a millennial myself. I'm just above that. Yeah. But, you know, there's a lot of platforms rising up now that, you know, there's a big pool of clientele in those that could be lost or left on the table if not looked at a little more. So just a general comment.
Yeah, we definitely will consider all the other. It's just so many. It's hard to keep track.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, this is Andy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I just want to kind of reiterate the question that was raised just a little bit earlier by Barry, that at some point today that you're actually going to go over a hands-on review of the platform itself. I know that for this morning session, you're primarily giving all the benefits of the platform, but the actual hands-on operation of the platform, you'll be going over that. We are going
to the second half. We're going to go to all the details, some of the nuts and bolts to get everyone started.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we should take a break for 10 minutes. We have two amazing digital collaborators gonna share with everyone. Let me get the slide deck here so I can take a break. All right, the next one is William Wells. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Matt.
All right, great. So Eric, are you there? I see you there. Okay, so they're gonna share with everyone about all the exciting things that they are working on. Okay, well, let's take a 10 minutes break right now. Thank you. Okay, let's start over.
Okay, my name is William Wells. I'm the executive director of Esteem Village. We are located in Kansas City, Missouri. We are a 501c3. We work in the STEM education space. We work with students trying to get them ready for the knowledge and information-based economy. We also do workforce development for young adults and adults. We've been in business since 2014, and we've always had a hybrid of on-site, online engagement. And we've been using eZ-XPO and Matt's platform, and Matt and I have been working together for, probably 4 years. We have multiple platforms which I will share with you. And for this presentation, I'm just going to use the presentation that I did for the Envision Center partners. We submitted an application to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in December of 2017 to be a part of the Envision Centers for Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas, and they designated, HUD designated our organization as the lead Envision Center for both Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas. When we made our presentation, what we told them is that we had to do a network, and that the platform is not to replace what happens on site, but it is actually to merge on-site connectivity with online connectivity and engagement. And this was before COVID hit. When COVID hit and everything shut down, everybody wanted to talk to us about the platform. We always looked at it as not a one-off, but we looked at it as a way to basically break down our website and compartmentalize them, and also to be able to bring other partners together to work together. So I'm going to jump right in. Envision Center is built on 4 pillars: economic empowerment, educational advancement, health and wellness, character and leadership. 2 of our portals are Envision Center, one for Missouri, one for Kansas. And then we have another portal that is dedicated solely for education. Again, you know, in the world, the way we knew it before COVID, everybody was out. Organizations that had resources to get to individuals and families, they were able to deliver them. Then when COVID hit, that became a little problematic. And when that became a problem, eZ-XPO was actually enabled us to carry on and continue on without a hiccup. As a matter of fact, right now we just ended yesterday our first week of our virtual STEM camp that runs from June 8th through July 31st. And because we had to go virtual as opposed to what we've traditionally been doing on site, we actually were able to expand our reach, both as camp leads who are teaching. We have students that we use college students to teach the courses, and so now we have college students at Florida A&M, Harris in Tallahassee, Florida, Harris Stowe in St. Louis. We have an instructor in Ghana and 9 students from Ghana that are participating in our summer camp. We're able to reach students in Hammond, Indiana, and Chicago. And then we have camp leads that are in Houston, Texas. So COVID forced everybody's hand to move to a virtual space. And what I like to say is it basically made people say, wait a minute, what these guys were talking about a virtual network, now it became a reality. So again, this is a slide I presented to everybody. You see this, Matt showed you this. We use it not for one-off, we use it for everyday engagement. Our summer camp is using it. We have community partners that provide job training, they provide counseling, and so they use every aspect of the portal. And we also are able to, and I'll show you this when I give you a tour of our portals, how we've actually connected the portal and built some back doors into content on our website that we did not want facing the public, but we wanted them to come into the portal to have access to it. So why the portal? Digital transformation, a lot of people think that they've digitally transformed their business by putting a website up. And what we've said all along is when you have a website, you're basically a ship lost at sea. Ships come to port. When they come to port, that's when they can trade and do commerce. And so what we look at the eZ-XPO platform is that port. Once in port, we can exchange resources. We can exchange, we can have, those residents can have access to resources, and it basically becomes a virtual shopping mall. I may go to one booth to get a book, but right next to it is another booth selling laptops, so I can pick up everything I want there. So we use the Envision Centers. I call the Venn diagram of serving the common good. We have our Envision Center partners that use the portal. We have our HUD interagency federal partners that use the network. We just signed up the federal FDIC and HUD. They're going to start teaching financial literacy classes in both of our Envision Center portals. We have local government agencies and state agencies. And then, of course, this provides access to all of the individuals, youth, and families. So as I said, we have 3 networks. Kansas City, Missouri, which the city of Kansas City, Missouri is a partner. We have Kansas City, Kansas, which the unified government of Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas is a partner. And then we have our portal that we use for educational purposes. So if you can still see my screen, get off of PayPal. If you can see my screen, you can see the portal. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is the Envision Center Kansas City, Kansas portal. This is the Envision Center Kansas City, Missouri portal. This is our virtual portal for our learning. And then this is the Encounter portal, which are for organizations that provide services on a region metro-wide. They provide resources to who would be the Envision Center partners. So we kind of stair-stepped it. So I'll go ahead and log in to the Envision Center Wyandotte County portal. We did, we have networked these together. So I know some people were saying, well, let's take a look at a live use, and that's what I'll do. So once I've logged, and I'm logging in as a client right now. So once I'm logged in as a client, I've got access to all of my portals. I'll start with the Envision Center Kansas City, Missouri portal. And once you go into the lobby, you can see here we have a virtual network event that we have. And so we could actually click on that event, and it would take us to the lobby. Envision Centers, the federal agency partners for the Envision Centers, U.S. Department of Commerce, U.S. Department of Labor, U.S. Department of Education, EPA, they are all providing content and resources to the Envision Centers and webinars and so this is a webinar that they had on USDA and some rule changes dealing with SNAP. It was a live conference that we showed here in the theater, but then we also have archived it so that our partners could come in and see it as they need to. So if I go to the exhibit hall, you'll see there are a few partners. This is still under development. We're just now getting partners. We have a meeting next Friday with the partners to start onboarding them. But you can see we have a workforce development partner that's already set up their portal. We have information on HUD Section 3, strategic workforce development, Wealthy Life, which is a financial literacy. And I believe Wealthy Life actually, if I click on her link, she actually has written a book called History of the Black Dollar. And she has her link to her books that are available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. She has access to her game, literacy game that she created, Credit Stacker. So it's really a really cool program. But what I'll do is I'll take you over to our education portal. And in our education portal, this, again, we're in our lobby now. You can see that we have a group out of North Carolina, Redbird, flight simulators that are actually teaching airlines, right? I mean, teaching how to fly a plane, the basics of how to fly a plane. And so if I click on this, you can see there's his lesson on airplane system basics. and then there's archived lessons of the ones previous before. I go into our exhibit hall, and of course you'll see there are more here. So we have some free K through 12. We have free K through 12 lessons that are available. If I go down to the bottom and I hit the exhibitor list, it'll populate every exhibitor that we have in here, and I can click on that and actually click on that link, and I'm actually now inside the booth. So this is the booth that we have for math, third grade math bundle. I click on the third grade math bundle, hoping you can still see my screen. And what we've done is we've taken third grade math, mapped it to Common Core standards, and basically gave parents now or teachers, so we wanted to give them a roadmap. So we put 9 weeks worth of lessons, some extended learning, and basically said when your child starts at third grade, they need to go through this process to understand these concepts to build upon their algebraic thinking and understanding of unit fractions to move on to the fourth grade. You click on a lesson. The lessons are interactive. They operate in real time. I don't use Matt as my guinea pig. I'll put Matt in, it join, and then it's a full lesson plan. So this is actually being used by schools. Teachers are using this because the lesson plan is already built up. These lessons can be taught in self-paced for a student or a parent or a sibling, or it can be taught as a live session. They have full videos loaded.
So we picking out some cups, you know what I'm saying, out the garden. We're going to set them in front of the house. See how many pills we.
And the good thing about this is, you see, we haven't lost any functionality. Everything is still interactive. The number 5-2 has a 5 in the tens place. So we've got total functionality of where everything is. We have virtual. I'm using a new computer. We have the VR element in these classes as well. So they can use the virtual reality here, and it also goes with the virtual reality glasses that they have. Again, this is not enabled for collaboration, but the teacher could enable it for collaboration. And again, we've lost no functionality. So I can actually do the lessons, take the quiz, hit submit anyway. And so that's just one way that we're using this platform. And by the way, when you saw the classes, the classes that I showed, that was the back door of our website. So this is not facing the public, but you can see that all of this is actually the back inside of our website. So we've actually incorporated it into our website. So let me see, exhibit hall, code combat, again, video. The students actually go in here and they can actually take their code combat classes. Redbird simulator, we have a Arduino lab in here. So they can actually, the inventor kits and the sensors that they have, they can come in here into the lab and simulate them first, log in. So this is the back end of their learning management system. So we've actually configured this in a way. I'll go to the Redbird simulator. Redbird, these are all the classes. Let me see. These are all the classes that are listed. Week 7. Doesn't look like they've updated them all the way. But also, to just show you, there's an online simulator. Again, you don't lose any functionality, and you're able to do MMO with this. And so this is the flight simulator. They can pick their plane and they can fly.
Oh, that's cool.
So they take the classes and then they can fly. Auditorium, Matt showed you the auditorium. We'll stream live. Open it up here. Have a concierge. If there's a live event being held, you have a concierge that can greet everybody, answer questions, interact with them, introduce the speaker. The lounge, of course, you can see that we have it connected to our Twitter. One of our parents from the summer camp yesterday posted about her daughter taking our summer camp, about how happy she was with the camp and what is going on. So it's a really powerful platform. It's very simple to use, and you can actually build it out and make it be what you want it to be and do what you want it to do. So with that, I will pause, stop my share. And,
well, let me thank Williams for all these great works, connecting all the dots here. If you can share the screen on your network once again, really to show everyone that what eZ-XPO is for and how we are uniquely different from everyone else. It's all about connecting all stakeholders, whether by city or by country or by any organization. This is how we are uniquely different from everyone else. And Envision Center Network is really a great example for that, because like I mentioned in my slide deck earlier, you can take the same framework and apply it to your industry, whether it's cannabis, whether it's for Chamber of Commerce, whether it's for urban farming, any industries. So we actually working with blockchain, AI, more and more. So this is really the critical framework, and I call the Netflix model for trade show and conferences, and that's what you're looking at right now. And as far as the content, that is up to you and your partners to fill them out. We both on content and also collaboration and engagement. And that's why this is so exciting, because I don't see anything out like that in anywhere. Many are just running in silos.
Yeah, Matt, and that's the main thing that we brought it. We knew that, there's several nonprofits in Kansas City that are doing great work, but they operate in silos. And that's why we have the two portals, so that we can bring them all into one place so that they can stop working in silos, because families are not static, right?
Right.
The third grade and the fifth grader may need something different than what mom and dad needs, and mom may need access to some resources that are different from dad.
Now, if you can scroll down your screen a little bit to show the Private Expo network. Now, this hold it there. And this is another powerful game changer. This is like connecting both intranet to extranet. Let's say, we're working with a company with 100 locations. That's above. And then you can work with any 100 locations below. That could be it could be a local chapter or any divisions or any other partners. And this is the power behind this. This is like this is the big picture for us, if you look at it from that point.
Yeah, this Apollo Virtual Education, Enterprise, and Entertainment is actually what we have on the shelf that will be released probably the fourth quarter of this year, that will actually connect all of this stuff in together. But it'll be next generation content.
Now, William, can you share with the group that, how many Envision Centers out there?
Oh, man. Yeah, I absolutely can. So let me just go to our website.
And how many are we planning to connect?
Well, we actually are presenting to HUD the week after next, I'm sorry. The presentation is just on the Envision Centers and using the platform to connect all the Envision Centers together. So if you go on to the HUD website, and you'll see that these are the Envision Centers throughout the country, and I believe that it's not even updated because I know they've added a couple more in
Yeah.
St. Louis and one in Colorado. But if you look at each one of these blue dots, which that one would be ours, each one of these blue dots actually has probably 100 to 200 partners within those blue dots. So their HUD is like, this is a way that we can actually bring all of that content into a one network that can then share resources and cross-pollinate opportunities.
Wow, this is just amazing. You think about all these dots. Each dot represents probably 100 to 200 connections by any entities. And going back to the slide deck I mentioned earlier, 3 key pillars. One is the promotion, right? That can mean for a small business or nonprofit for fundraising. Second is the training. Now, nobody knows everything. And this is why the collaborator or digital collaborator, your job is to bring everybody together so that we can share content and knowledge. And the third piece is the job creation, right? I mean, this by itself, right? And you can actually helping companies or helping people transforming their in-person event job to a virtual. And this is that you're looking at that right now. How many jobs do you think we can create from this network?
It's going to be a lot. Not only are we going to create a lot of jobs, but we're going to give an opportunity for a lot of people who didn't even think about getting a job, the opportunity to get into the economy.
Yeah.
Because we are looking at a digital economy. It's funny, we have an airport that's being built that's due to be finished at 2023. I think it's about a $1.5 billion airport, and the 6 jobs that they've been offering everybody through the traditional workforce development agencies are, construction, cabling, moving rocks from left to right. And we know that this is going to be a state-of-the-art airport that's built for the next 50, 100 years. And unfortunately, the schools aren't preparing the students to be able to be the ones to run those state-of-the-art airports. Kansas City, like a lot of cities across the country, are looking at becoming a smart city. But trying to become a smart city the way everybody's been approaching is like trying to boil the ocean. We're taking the approach of creating smart communities. A city with multiple smart communities automatically becomes a smart city.
All right, great. Well, thank you very much. I think this is amazing. This is how, we can help every local community just to get something, start small, right? Start with one virtual expo, and you can see the big picture. It's like it's sowing the seed, and then you plant a tree, and then pretty soon you got a forest. And I think that's what's happening in Envision Center. So let me open up for Q&A. Go ahead, and if you have any questions for William, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering about startup time and staffing. How much time, energy, money did it take to get things rolling or going or established?
Well, so I actually have middle school and high school students that are actually populating out the program. So for us, our investment of money, most of it is actually into resources that we use in our everyday programming. And as we're training the students and having them go through the digital literacy process, then we're able to turn around and they're able to jump in and pick a booth and start populating content.
So your education process is your manpower at the same time?
Well, not at the same time. There's a curve to get them there, but yeah. But but that's the whole goal, is to get them with industry certifications before they get to their high school diploma, and to get them on the job. So when they go to apply for college or go to apply for a job, they can say, this is what we've already been doing in the digital space, and they've got a live working. They can actually show, go to this website and we've done work, and this is the work we've done.
So you're kind of working with capital instead of venture capital.
Pardon me?
You're working with human capital instead of venture capital.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Brilliant.
I have a question, Matt. Being older, I noticed that the size of the font on Williams' websites was very small. Is that something that's a normal?
When you say the size of the font on the homepage or inside?
Inside.
Yeah, Matt, you might want to answer that.
I have to check on that.
We had the opportunity to, like when we do the booths or we add content, we have the opportunity to use a different type of font, or to basically create a label and post it so that it can be. A lot of the booth labels are actually the logos of the logos of whatever platform or whatever organization that booth goes to.
Well, this one in particular had like 3 sections, and it had a bold title, and then the font below got
This
so
right here?
small. Let me see.
Oh, am I sharing my screen? No. All right, hold on a second.
You look good though.
Oh, thank you.
Gail, sometimes the settings are on your own computer choices.
Okay, see in the let's say this right here.
Yeah, that's in the you can change your font inside in the computer.
Well,
we just used it for that because we had we created this landing page.
Yes.
Because it comes out, you know, HUD has Kansas City skyline on the Envision Center page.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and so we wanted to, and we were trying to make sure that under the intro that we highlighted the 4 pillars of the Envision Center, but we could have shortened that up, or we could have made the font larger here. Like this font, the Envision Center KCMO, that's done inside the portal, and this font here is done inside the portal, and I'm sure we could have looked at a different font.
Okay, it's not the font itself, it's the size of the font that
exactly.
Question.
Exactly, because you can always zoom, right?
Oh, so we can do that.
Yeah,
that's on the browser. Yeah,
that's on the browser, so you can,
right,
they can always use the browser to zoom.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I just got my question answered. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And this video here is our virtual community action planning, which is the core of how we are going about creating digital economies in neighborhoods that don't have an economy, both urban and rural. And so, yeah, it's a really powerful tool, very affordable, and you know, we keep this private because we have a dedicated mission. The Apollo Virtual, that when Matt showed you the exchange, we probably will make that part. When we activate that in the 3rd or 4th quarter, we'll probably make that part active, public, and connect it with the Expo exchange with the others. But this, we wanted a closed environment because we are working with students, and we wanted to make sure that the Envision Centers were utilizing and serving those urban and rural families that are receiving HUD funding or living in HUD housing.
I see.
Well, yeah.
But I think the key takeaway from this is that the same framework can apply to any vertical industry, any local community.
Yes.
I think William has done, and his team has done an amazing job to make this thing a reality, right? I mean, I showed you only the slide deck and the framework on the back end. Now this is the true, this is the thing that you can do. And I'm just trying to share. This is a perfect example for that.
William,
Along those same
William,
lines,
William,
Yeah.
this is Barry. I have a few questions for you, if I might. And my first question is, how do you generate revenue from sponsors or whatever on your site? How do you charge? I don't want you to give away any secrets here, but as an example, we're looking to do the Chamber of Commerce's, okay? And there's thousands of chambers of commerce's, and bring the unity to them. So we're going to have the networking in the Chamber of Commerce. They do ads, as an example. So our expectation is to charge a fee for them to have a booth within the show or convention that we have on a regular basis. And there's so much per month, let's say, we charge it. Do you do that currently? Is that part of your process?
That's a part of our model. It's the old television network model, cable advertising model, right? The more subscribers that you have coming into your booth, the more businesses that you have providing resources and content inside of your booth, then the value of what you can charge for advertising will go up, because and it's probably going to be a crawl, walk, run as you begin to populate that content. But yeah, that is a part of our model. There's some sponsor label logos that Matt already has built in for you to be able to sell booth advertising space. I can actually show that to you.
Great.
Go to share. So let's see, do I have it on our virtual academy? Yeah, so right here you have sponsors. This is the senior administration of the state of Missouri and the state of Kansas. We're actually hosting a virtual conference. They were supposed to have a conference. It was canceled. They moved it out to October and decided to host a virtual conference. And so they asked me if they could basically host that conference inside of our education portal. And so they paid for a sponsorship. And this is obviously the exhibitors list. There's their logo right there, which obviously will go and take you inside here. But if I go into the lobby, there's usually an ad right there that you could have up. Maybe I need to go over to the, I believe
Let me add a couple comments to that, Barry. There are three ways to get to monetize. One is obviously attendees, but for Chamber of Commerce, most likely that's probably not. Secondly is the exhibitor and sponsor. So if the organizer doesn't want to pay, it's either exhibitor or sponsor would have to help support the funding.
Yeah, and then you can always charge for these logos up here. I mean, these sponsor labels up here.
Right. So what I'm, in my vision, and I want to see, William, if you agree with me or not, there would be, I'll call it the National Chamber, Expo National Chamber of Commerce's. Then you have the individual chambers of each city. And then in the city, you have the networking. As an example, I have one chamber right now that has 400 members, and I'm just assuming I'll get 50 booths under that title. And that's where my revenue comes from, where I charge them each month for them having the privilege of being on it, to be able to be challenged, to hear things, to see things, and to do things. And then the idea is all the chambers can participate. They have one center on a national basis once a month or whatever to be updated with speakers, etc. Is that sort of the format you have?
It's not it's kind of like the format that we have. And I think that what you're wanting to do what's going to dictate the success and dictate what you're able to sell it for is going to be what's the content, right? Content is key, right? What's going to make a subscriber or an attendee come to the portal? That means if they come to the portal, they have to be coming there to get some valuable content that they're not going to be able to get somewhere else. So you need to make sure that you're very strategic in what you're going to place into the content, because you don't want somebody to come, create an account, log into the portal, and then not come back, right? So, so for us, our retention factor is we have we are a STEM education, workforce development, entrepreneur organization at the end of the day. And so what we do is we partner with other organizations that provide content that would be relative to where we are, and then we could actually use inside of our summer camp, right? That we can use in our fall, winter, and spring programming. That we can use when we provide STEM enrichment to the area high schools, middle schools, and elementary schools. So when they want to come in and take STEAM school, they have, or they want to take our free K through 12 math curriculum, they would either have to go and pay $5,000 to another organization. We've made that investment and we've made it free, right? So that's our loss leader. So now they can come as a student or as a parent of a student. They can come to our portal, log in for free, and go to that K through 12 math booth and work and have access to those math lessons. If they wanted to come and get digital workforce certification, they can log into our booth, but they're going to pay because that's not free, right? That is a pre-assessment, a tutorial, a lab, and a post-assessment. And when you pass at 80% or higher, then you get your industry certification. So we charge for that. So on the front side of our public website, we say these are the things that we pay, that we have available. They sign up, they pay. We give them their username and password. We don't make them go and sign up to our portal. We give them a username and password to our portal, and we say, go to our portal, find this booth, and when you click on that booth under featured content, that will let you in to take your course.
Thank you.
And I haven't even jumped into the streaming of concerts. National Geographic reached out to us on Earth Day and asked if we could show the Jane Goodall, if we wanted to debut the Jane Goodall movie. So we created a back end to our website. We got the code. We put an Eventbrite up. People signed up. When they signed up, we created their account, sent them their link, sent them the code, told them to go into the portal. And in that lobby, they clicked on the lobby. It took them into the theater, and they were able to access the Jane Goodall movie before it was released on Hulu and Netflix. So there's other things that you can do. Brian Culbertson, in this time of virtual social distancing, I should say, he had a live concert that we streamed that live concert from YouTube into our portal, made it available to our entire database of subscribers. A lot of them the parents are Brian Culbertson fans, right? So we're serving students, but we had some content that we knew a lot of the parents would like. So now the parents jumped into the portal so that they could view a jazz concert by Brian Culbertson. In middle school and high school students, they were the ones that were doing the back office and the back end configuration.
William, how do you get people to come to your site?
That's a great question. We do a lot of social media. We do a lot our on-site. So like all of our, we have 80 students that are taking our summer camp right now, and they just signed up on our website for our summer camp. We've been doing it for 6 years, right? But this year we chose not to do it on site. It's not safe for any young person to be trying to do anything on site, so they just signed up. We created the platform that we wanted. We put the content in that we were going to do for summer camp inside the platform, and we created their accounts. And we use Microsoft Teams, by the way. So we've actually integrated this platform inside of Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is the walls, if you will, of our program for our summer camp.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, William, I'm Michael. I had a question for you.
Yes, sir.
When I was looking at your presentation of your own setup, from what it looked like to me, the eZ-XPO part of it was primarily a grouping of links to offsite.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell from your own website that it's quite well advanced. Why don't you just have those links on your own website aggregated? Because from what I could tell, they weren't that sophisticated on eZ-XPO.
Yeah, so that's a great question, right? So the whole goal, in order to build up value, you need to have people. Think of an arena, right? So you want to get people into the seats, and the more people you have in the seats will then lead to you being able to sell advertising, bring in other partners that have relative content. So you're absolutely right. We could have put it all on our website, but if you remember my slides, I showed the ship at sea by itself versus a ship in port with other ships, and where the commerce and the trade happens.
How does having your content hosted by eZ-XPO assist with that?
Because we're able to integrate. I can't put Redbird Flight Simulator inside of our website, but I can give because they'll feel they're losing autonomy. Somebody will feel they're losing autonomy. But by giving Redbird Flight their own booth that they can populate with their own content, and their booth is next to our booth, then they still keep their autonomy. We keep our autonomy, but just because we have students in summer camp coming in there, they can still go over to Redbird, and it's still our portal.
Okay, that makes sense.
I hope. Sometimes I explain stuff and it doesn't make sense to me, but Michael, sometimes I don't make sense to myself, so I hope I answered your question correctly.
It happens to the best of us. No, I think it was explained my question.
All right.
Is there anybody currently using this platform as a convention itself?
I'm sure there are. That wasn't our model. We wanted to use it as that bridge for a hybrid solution of online and on-site engagement. On-site, we're open Monday through Friday from 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock. On Saturdays, we're open from 11 o'clock to 6 o'clock. We're closed on Saturdays. But with this portal, we're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah, Barry, why don't you hold off that question? We're going to have a roundtable kind of introduction so that everyone will have an opportunity to share what specific project they're working on. So just keep the time moving. Any other last question for William?
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. And
well, thank you very much, William. This is really exciting. I really looking forward to make that all the dots connected together through the platform. All right,
thanks for the thumbs up, y'all.
All right, you take care. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
Don't leave yet.
I've got to jump on another call, but
all right, go ahead. Just kidding.
Well, William, I want to say congratulations.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah. I'll stay close. I'll just be on mute.
You did a great job. Great job.
Great job.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so let me just present the next digital collaborator. Let me just pull up my screen.
Eric, where are you located?
I'm in New York.
Okay.
All right. Well, Eric is going to be our next digital presentation. He is one of the few early adopters, way how we started. It's just amazing that we are, well, I let the Erics to talk about all the exciting projects he working on. So he is focused on building out a very powerful virtual business network ecosystem for small business as well as for nonprofits. He is the money doctor, I call it. So anyway, without further ado, thank you, Eric. You're yours.
Thank you, Matt, and good morning to all. Eric Alexander. I'm talking to you from New York City, and give you a little of history about my relationship with Matt and this particular platform. Just around the time when the Wall Street was about to crash, and at that time I was operating mostly as an investment banker on Wall Street, and once the market crashed, I realized I had to change direction. So I decided to focus my energy and the experience that I acquired on the street on small and medium-sized enterprises and see how I can help them survive the onslaught that was out there at that time. And Matt and I decided to collaborate, and I had an idea, whereas we'll build a virtual ecosystem that will have three main components. Money, which is what every small business need, and that also can be a lack of it. Sometimes can be a reason for the failure. And the second thing was marketing. Even if you have money, if you don't have the right marketing, you're not going to be able to generate revenue. And third was management, because a lot of time those companies don't have the talent or cannot afford the talent to be able to enable them to grow. So that was the onset of that back in 2008, 2009. We started the first project that we had was a small business expo, eZ-XPO. And what we learned from that is a lot of business, even though they were small, they didn't like the idea of being involved in anything that small. So we had to turn around in 2011 and change the company and change the branding to Global V Square, which is where we are today. Now, over the years, I put my focus mainly on the money side. And I was working with a lot of investors in China. I traveled extensively to China, trying to bridge the financial divide, trying to bring money in Italian. We tried to do some EB5 project and so on and so forth. And, back on when Matt and I were first talking about this, we were saying that, this particular platform will help reduce carbon footprint and reduce the spread of flu. And we were not talking about pandemic then because that was not on the radar. And when I would do presentation to companies, I would and I was working mostly with chambers of commerce as well. I know Barry, you mentioned that that's where part of your concentration. And I was always talking to expos in terms of explaining to them that we can reduce the carbon footprint and reduce the spread of viruses and so on and so forth. And like I said, but at that time was mainly the flu was our main concern. Now, so most people the feedback we were getting then was that, oh no, no one's going to be interested in this, because people want to do business and they want to shake hands. They want to press the flesh, because this is not going to work. And we got a lot of people telling us they didn't want to get involved in this. Or sometimes the chambers of commerce will say, see, technology is too difficult. Who's going to do this? Who's going to manage the platform if we sign up? And Barry, I don't know if you had that experience, but in chambers of commerce, usually you have a lot of volunteer, or the people who are not familiar with that technology. So that was the feedback we were getting. And so, of course, it was very frustrating. But suddenly, as Matt is saying, people are calling him now because of the pandemic. They want to know how can they use this particular platform. And of course, is there available, and that can really help a lot of them progress. My focus on on terms of my network is mostly still on the financial side. So inside our platform, we have the virtual business finance ecosystem. We have the other vertical that we focus on is healthcare, real estate and hospitality, and of course, chambers of commerce to some extent. Now, I don't have anything built right now in terms of extensive as William. I think William did a great work. I'm going to show you how the system works. And I think if I was trying to show you what I have, it would be a disservice to you, because he has so much content already built in that we're still building some of the new clients that we have in the the starting point. For example, we have a group called the Advanced Destination Association. They have about 9,000 members, and we are building their platform as we speak on terms of them joining that, okay? We have a client which is mostly ethnocentric, meaning that they wanted to see how they can group Black business owners together. We are in the process of building that as well. And we have one client that is on the healthcare, that is most of their suppliers are in China. So we're building a bridge between their supplier in China and their customer here in the US. And so that's also under construction right now. So hopefully next time, by the time that series is over in the next couple of weeks, I'll have a lot more content I can share with you on terms of how that works. But the key thing I want you to walk away with is how we approach companies. Originally, we used to say, okay, we're going to provide you with financing, and since we're giving you money, because we are doing mostly private equity investment, we require that you sign up for the marketing and for the management. So as a result, the global Group V Square, which is the technology we use by eZ-XPO as well, automatically those people will sign up and be in that platform, right? And then management, we had a company called Enterprise Transformers, which will provide them with all the management strategy and development to enable them to do that. So when we change our branding, we change our focus now to more of every company that's come on board, we are developing them from a ecosystem standpoint. So the ecosystem strategy is start from day one, meaning that when they sign up, it's not just the company itself, it's all the 7 different actors that are always present on every ecosystem. So they have to sign up and bring all that. That means they have to bring their customers, their suppliers, even their competitors have to come to the platform. And our vision is that we can grow our platform a lot faster by using the ecosystem strategy and development, and at the same time we provide them with this idea of beyond the ecosystem itself is what I call the business biome. A biome meaning that there's multiple ecosystem. Because what we find out that every business, most businesses are operating on multiple ecosystem, and this platform is going to enable them to operate the same way and be able to show them how to and visualize how that can take place. I'll stop right there and just take your question from there.
Thank you, Eric. Yeah, feel free to ask Eric about any questions about.
And also, if you need money, you can call me. You can tell me too. I'll send you money as well, since I'm focused on money as well.
How much?
How much? Well, you put how much you want in the application. Well, it's what we're doing right now. We're doing on the financing side. We're doing both equity and debt. So, but right now we find the debt a lot easier to do. But yes, we'll structure equity investment as well. Although not directly as we used to do before.
Matt, will there be a list of everybody that's on this? So if we want to communicate with each other, you can provide that?
Yeah. Definitely, we will provide a list. And in fact, most of you do have a virtual booth, and that's part of the deal is to have each one provide all the content in the virtual booth. And then we have, after this session is over, then you can actually go to the actual virtual expo. I'm going to be showing in a few minutes that you can actually talk to them one-on-one or even privately inside the booth.
Great.
Anyone, any question for Eric?
Yeah, I do, Eric. So basically, you are requiring, if I have this straight, that anyone that wants to work with you in the expo, that you require that you handle the setup and the control, the management. They just bring all their people, and then you handle everything else. Is that what I understood?
Right. So, thank you for the question, and that gives me an opportunity to expand in better on top of what I mean. What happened is this: is that before we were bringing business on board because we wanted them to use this to do Expo. Okay, and that's fine. Our focus at Global V Square is say, listen, you want to grow your business. So what we are is a growth hacking platform. We're going to help your business grow. All right. So from a growth standpoint, you have to plan and strategize. And the strategy that we use is a ecosystem strategy, meaning that we're going to assess and evaluate your present ecosystem, make you see things that you didn't know existed there, and develop your company and your business through that particular lens. Now, business interact every day with their business ecosystem, but they just don't realize it. And we're going to make it more prominent into how they can see that that relationship and help them grow that way. But the beauty about that is that when they come on board, they have to bring all the other players for it to work, right? They have to bring their customers, their suppliers, okay? Their competitors. They have to identify their competitors because we want to invite them so that that particular business, maybe they want to take a lead on that ecosystem, right? If they're the first one that started, they can bring the competitors and keep the lead. Therefore, they can still compete, but they can compete from a greater position of strength because they own the system.
Matt, I have 3 more questions for Eric. but I don't want to take up too much time. Should I connect with him later, ask him right now, or how do you want to run this?
Yeah, go ahead and ask the question. I think we should have a little bit more time. Yeah, go ahead.
Eric, do people resist bringing their data and their contact information? A. B, what is the startup cost of working with you? And C, do you help finance that or find money for the startup costs?
Good question. So let's talk about the money first, because that's where my expertise really is, right? So yes, there is, on our platform, we're not on the business ecosystem. One of the company that we have there is called the Money Clinic. So basically, when we're doing the assessment for their ecosystem, we also do a financial assessment, and we can tell them immediately, instantly, actually, what kind of level of financing they can bring on board to make that happen. Okay, and the way if we can show them where the money is coming from, that's one way to lessen the resistance. Okay. And the second thing we realize also is that by showing them the benefit in terms of what the growth going to be, that seemed to also work a lot. So for example, right now, we are working on collaboration with the University in New York to develop an algorithm as we can create some kind of prediction, so that when somebody come and sign in the system and put certain parameters, we can predict the level of success on the platform. So and by working with PhD at the university level, we feel that we'll be able to bring a certain level of credibility, and having a formula showing that if you put X, Y, Z, this is what you get. I think in the future that's going to create the kind of success that we expect on the platform.
And the content, the connections, are they resistant to turning that over to you, their data?
No, because you see, the data they're going to put there is about the same that they will share everywhere else, right? Because we're not asking for any proprietary information, right? So we just want them to, if they want to do business open to the public, that's what they're going to have to use. We just help show them how it can be used on the virtual world, and how they can grow their business a lot faster.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, any other question for Eric? All right, so thanks, Eric, for a great story, inspirational story to share with everyone. I think this is a good time to share, just kind of go around the table to finish it up around 11 o'clock. We can actually do a break after 11 for 10 minutes. So Barry, you want to start with you first? Kind of go around.
Sure.
Share with what location you are, what project you're working on,
Okay.
and why did you select eZ-XPO?
I'm not sure yet why I selected eZ-XPO. But this is something, just so everybody knows, first of all, my name is Barry Keys. I am in Palm Desert, California, and you have half a dozen of my partners on here as well, listening to all of this. And we are jumping in as best we can with both feet to get this off the ground. I did try to do this several years ago with Marketplace 365 that was listed there on the front sheet. And as Matt has eloquently has said, it kept costing more money, and I never really got to where I wanted to be. And at the time, I was going to do it for a county, and they were all excited to do it. but I actually pulled the plug because we just couldn't get it off the ground right. And it seems now with everything going on, the timing is correct. And going through some of the selections that were out there, I got a hold of Matt and felt Matt can really produce, or at least he indicated so far we could do all that we want to do. And from what I'm watching today and from the presentation, I do believe, Matt, that we probably have the ability to get started. I was going to do this for counties at that time and bring it together. I'm now focusing specifically on the chambers, and that's, Eric, I'll talk to you about that. But it's there. I believe we can do this. I'm looking at it from doing a convention on an ongoing basis, 365 days, 7 days a week, and 365 days as you go. So I'm still a little confused. As you guys can see, I'm a seasoned guy. Gail has eloquently said how seasoned she is, so we're seasoned together. But the point is, I want to provide for an industry, whether it be the chambers or it could be the electronic industry or whatever, because there's 10,000 conventions out there, recognizing the downsizing of that, recognizing today how everything is going virtual, and that's the direction, and I agree with everybody that's getting into this, that I think we're on the infancy of doing that. So I'm trying with our crew here to look and see how we can do, using the chamber as an example, providing a national, call it Expo, National Chamber of Commerce's, have underneath that each chamber that wishes to participate. And then in that participation, each one of their networking methods that they operate would take a booth within that show. And then each month, when we do something, it would be new additional information. Is like Eric said, you got to keep it, or somebody said, you got to keep it informative for people to keep coming back. And I'm sure that's going to be a challenge, which some of you guys have already maybe experienced. So that's what I'm in here for, and hopefully we have 50 different shows. There's 10,000 out there of conventions. I think there's room for everybody, and I even believe that there's some room here to partnership if you have something like, Eric, you're in New York and you've got a chamber there. How do we work together to make this a success and have one show, let's say, call it the national, okay? Right. So I see the synergy between all these folks that are on here and whoever else participates under the direction of Matt with what he's providing us as the platform, and then it's the information that goes in that. So that's kind of where I think my thinking and team is. You guys may have some of the same, may not, and if you have input, great. If we can input what you're doing, great. And the question is, how do we get this off the ground, and how quickly can we get it off the ground? And we're ready, able, and anxious to make this happen like yesterday. So that's where we are.
Okay, thank you, Barry.
The name of our expo is Expo 24 Chamber of Commerce, or whatever Expo 24 is going to be.
Okay, next one. All right, let me go down the list here. Wayne, you want to share your company?
Yeah, hi, Matt. My name is Wayne Stephen Jennings, as you can see from the bottom of the screen there. I'm based in Johannesburg, South Africa, and for the past 13 or 14 years, we've run an event, or a series of events, called the Business Event Showcase. The concept, it's the only one of its kind in our country, and the concept very simply was to create an event that allowed people to network, buyers and sellers obviously of conference and event related product, but also then to offer a stage where buyers could physically experience, whether it be comedians, actors, bands, MCs. So it became a platform or a sort of face-to-face experiential kind of marketing process. And we run a few of these around the country in the three major business centers. The background for me, although I have a BSc, I've been in the conference and events industry for close on 30 years. So we have quite a wealth of experience, not only in terms of hosting our own events, but in hosting a whole lot of other people's events. Right now, the focus is just on creating a virtual version of the events that we've been running over the past 13 years. And I think that the industry and the events that we run lend itself quite nicely because there's a combination of plenary or on-stage type activity where people are delivering content, whether there's a comedian or a band or entertainment. And of course, then there's the networking aspect, which is just done through live face-to-face booths. But of course, the eZ-XPO platform allows them to obviously get involved and access that content on demand. One of the sort of goals that we had, or have had for some time, was that the live event would typically last a day. And I was looking to project this and extend it beyond the live event. We tried it with an app, a mobile app. We didn't get the kind of results we wanted. And so we started looking around some time ago for a platform. But as everybody realized, COVID hadn't arrived yet. And I think COVID just accelerated that process and made us really just jump on the wagon and go, right, now we need to get this done. And let's stop talking about it. Did a bit of research. And in our view, what we want to do is to really create a 24/7, 365 marketplace for vendors and buyers in the events industry. So in terms of our company, we have in the region of about 7,000 qualified and accredited event buyers, and they range across government, corporate entities, and then association markets. And obviously we have a very good relationship with the vendors, and that ranges from venues across the nation. In fact, in the Southern African region, so some of the neighboring countries too, we have very good relationships with them. So what we really wanted to do is to say, well, great, we have this event, one-day event, and then that's it, basically, which really didn't offer us scope to add value to our clients, and not only that, but also to our users. So the concept was to create this marketplace, which is just 24/7, 365, and allow the vendors to constantly be updating content, running new promotions, offering different kinds of webinars. And at the same time, because we have a membership of 7,000 members who are all qualified buyers, we're able to then deliver exciting content to them and say, well, this is why you need to come back. This is what you need to be looking at. So we have the opportunity to drive a number of very specific kinds of promotions. And through the membership, we have a loyalty program. So the more they engage with us on our platform, the more loyalty points they earn, and they can be sort of a bit of an aside. But they, again, on the virtual expo, we could probably do something quite similar. And then, you know, having thought about that, it became quite obvious that there are a number of other industries within South Africa that are just ripe to be virtualized. And, you know, over 30 years, we've developed very, very good relationships with a lot of the exhibition companies, tourism companies. And there's a massive national tourism show that's been cancelled in this country. Tourism is probably the biggest contributor to GDP. And in this country, it's replaced mining many, many years ago. And so it's a very strong focus to generate foreign exchange. Of course, we are a third world country, so foreign exchange is very, very important to us. So in a nutshell, that's where I am, and that's what we do, and it's really been lovely chatting to you all.
Okay, so next one, let's try to make it brief. We got a whole bunch of people online waiting. Let's try to make it to 3 minutes, and one actually from Asia. I don't want to. It's pretty late over there, I guess. Not sure. Who is from Asia? I think Jeff. Jeff, you want to get started first? And I think we have another one from Philippines. I don't want to hold you up too late. Go ahead,
Yes,
Jeff.
I would love to. You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm Jeff. I'm Australian, Hong Kong, and my partner Jack is Singaporean, Hong Kong. So together we link up Greater China, Singapore, and Australia already. And then I've been working in the region in Asia for 20 years, especially Greater China, and I have linkages with China Ministry of Finance and also the Greater Bay Area, etc. So this collaborative network is something that is very useful, especially for us in the region. So we have done one for Queensland. So linking up Queensland and Hong Kong, introducing Queensland, and then moving investments into Queensland, attracting investors from Hong Kong and from China into Queensland. So that is with the Queensland government, and we might have to work further up with different other countries, areas, and associations. And we also have network with NGOs in Hong Kong or in China, so we might be able to further work on some charity work for some of these organizations. And we appreciate very much using the platform and with the collaborative network, so as we are then able to further move, further scale up in order to work together with the different organizations in the different countries in this region. So, anything you want me to add?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, I think thanks for sharing your experience with the platform. They did an amazing job. I think it was last week on the first virtual expo in Hong Kong with
Yes,
Australia.
yes.
So yeah, so anyone that wants to ask him any questions, or go ahead.
Jeff, Eric Alexander here from New York.
Hi, Eric.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, good. I was listening to the fact that you work with the Ministry of Finance in China.
Yes, yes. I'm actually a specialist advisor for the Ministry of Finance, one of the 40 specialist advisors here in Hong Kong.
Okay. All right. So, I've been to Hong Kong as well a few times. I had an apartment on Zhuhai. So I used to take the ferry to Zhuhai to Hong Kong. Right? So,
yeah,
but
1 to 2 hours.
Yeah. So I used to, it's very interesting connection. I'm looking forward to talk to you a bit further in the future. The reason I say that because I was working with a number of projects in Africa, and the financing were coming from China. So that's, I think we can.
Eric, everyone is going to have a virtual booth here, so I think you can actually chat with everyone inside. Inside the platform. I know that everyone is just starting out to build out the virtual booth, and that's part of the assignment for this week.
Oh, really?
Thanks, Jeff, for sharing. Who wants to? Who's next?
Thank you. And I just want to say it's 2 a.m. now here in Hong Kong. So
no.
I might be leaving this meeting maybe in another 5-10 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for staying so late. I'm sorry. All right, so who wants to go next?
I'd be happy to go next. Jeff, I'd love to connect with you. I spent about 15 years in the TV infomercial industry, and I'd like to learn more about your focus, if it's on products or money or distribution, but we can chat later about that, okay?
Yes, yes. In fact, I was interviewed by TVB, the biggest channel here in Hong Kong, a week ago. So it will be on TV in the next month.
All right, very good.
Oh, great. All right, so who's wants to go? Hey, Jen, how about Jen from Philippines? Are you still there? It's pretty late over there. Okay, who wants to share?
How's it, guys? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Michael from Cape Town,
Hey,
South
Michael.
Africa. Yeah, can you hear me? Firstly, sorry for not asking.
I can hear it perfectly. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Hi, everybody. Hope you're all staying warm and safe and well over the COVID-19 pandemic, firstly. I'm also from South Africa, more from the South Cape Town, and we've been working with corporate companies in the Expo environment for about 7 years, not as long as Wayne, but we do more your virtual reality and holographic 3D projection. This is my first time ever trying to take on something like this, but I feel I've done my research with all the other platforms out there, with VFair, with all the others that you've mentioned, and I've really spent a lot of time. I think that this platform really has the most cost-effective approach, and the value that you get by being able to run multiple expos at the same time and be able to serve different niche markets really is where the plus is with this. And the features really are powerful. I mean, I've tried them and tested them out like late into the hours of the early morning, like for the past 2 months. So I'm fully confident that this is the correct solution for everybody. I would love to work with everybody in any way, shape, or form. So thanks very much.
Hey, thank you, Michael. All right, so, all right, great. Who wants to share? Jen,
hey,
are you there? Hi. Sure. Hey, how you doing?
Jean-Pierre Mojica from, we're in Puerto Rico. We're a food and beverage distribution company. And we do several shows during the year, but this is the first time we're going to start doing a virtual show. We're going to, I mean, we wanted to do it in a long time, but the COVID has accelerated this transformation for us. So we have to look into a couple of them. Like you say, the VFair is very expensive. The cheapest was $14,000 for one show. We look into XFair. XFair was close were $10,000, and we look at the one that was more expensive than that was WordCast. It was like $35,000 for
Which
a show.
one is that?
WordCast.
Okay, it's from probably Europe.
Yeah, from I think it was England. So we did a lot of research in looking into one, and we chose you. We registered a month ago, so we are learning. That's why we're here. There's a couple of my coworkers here, and we want to do our first virtual show in August.
Yeah.
So we'll let you know so you can see it and give us a feedback. See how we did.
Yeah, thank you. This is the perfect time, kind of to roll up your sleeves, and actually we're going to have a lot of experts in this area to actually help everyone.
And sorry, and looking more into the presentation today, we looked at the platform just for a trade show, but you presented today on the training and the talent acquisition. It seems like we probably can also use it and do more than what we initially got signed for.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what the platform is for. It's designed to help everyone to get connected and actually solving those 3 biggest problems. All right, so moving on to the next one. Thank you, Sean. All right, next one. Who wants to join? Share your, provide your introduction. Hey, how about Kim? You've been quiet. Kim?
Yeah, thanks.
Hi, Kim. You want to share some of the...
Sure, I'll be quick. Sure, thanks, Matt. I'm here in the San Francisco Bay Area, across the bay from our esteemed developer, Matt Folk, and we offer, we're a digital marketing agency, and I am privileged to be working with Les Hamasaki on a virtual farming expo. I'm sorry, a urban farming virtual conference, and I'm also very interested to promote the platform to businesses and nonprofits that I think during this challenging time, many nonprofits are challenged financially to even survive. Even one of the largest, the YMCA in the United States, is looking for funds. So anyway, I think there's a huge opportunity for nonprofits to work with their aligned supporters and sponsors and local businesses in a win-win situation. So thanks so much. Pleasure to meet everybody virtually.
Well, thank you,
I'll yield my
Kim,
time.
for all your support, and you will have a great presentation next week as to share with everyone as well for more detailed information. All right, next, who wants to introduce yourself?
I can go next, Matt.
Yeah, hi, David.
Hi. Hi, everyone. My name's David. I'm from Southern California, Riverside area. Excited to be here today. Just a little background of myself. I have over 20 years of government procurement experience, working with contractors and so forth. I recently, about 3 years ago, I opened my own digital marketing agency to take off the burden from all the business owners from running their digital marketing and focusing on running their business. So, and I'm excited as well to be a partner with Barry Keys and the group. So, learning a lot of new ways to do business nowadays with the digital area, the COVID-19 taking over. And so like everybody's been saying, it's just boosting everybody to go virtual. So, you know, we're just hands-on, ready to go, see how we can assist. And like Barry mentioned as well, we're ready to take off as of yesterday. So we're excited about this time, the opportunities that are rising. So we're glad to hear from you, Matt, and get to know more about your program and your software.
All right, thank you. Next, who wants to start? How about Ben from UK? Is it you from UK? Ben, are you there? Okay, so how about Bishop? Are you there? Okay, anyone want to share an introduction of your, hi, Mike. Mike, you want to go ahead?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm kind of uniquely positioned. That's why I met Matt so many years ago, because I covered media marketing trade shows for about 15 years. I would go from 1 to 3 trade show every month for my agency. And so I was really a unique combination of networking and media and marketing and expos. And I would judge products for many years and elevator pitches. So I speak around the country about helping people with their elevator pitch. And today it's all about video backgrounds and elevator pitches and how really you can use the background media almost like a new form of media today. And we specialize in large networking events, cross-group networking. So we bring a bunch of groups together to cross-pollinate, chambers of commerce, B&I groups, nonprofits, Toastmasters, you know, people that really need new clients. So we actually take people who have traditionally hated networking, and we combine media and networking together to kind of perfect networking, or what I call nearly perfect networking. We eliminate all of the things that most people hate about networking, and we focus on making them comfortable in the breakout rooms that we do on Zoom. And that's a perfect fit for eZ-XPO. We actually have co-hosted breakout rooms with sponsors like Kim Ryle. And so we do a lot of things to help chambers of commerce. And that's why I would love to connect with you guys about chambers of commerce, because I believe one of the most important things we can all do is help to keep more money into our communities. You know, because we can't all live at Amazon, so we have to take care of our own communities, to take care of our schools, our police, our potholes, our streets, etc. So I've been on this for quite a while because I've been studying the new economy for a long time and love to connect with anybody here. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Mike. You should definitely talk to Barry and also Eric to really collaborate. Barry represents the Southern Cal. Also, Eric is working on the East Coast, so we got both Southern Cal and East Coast coverage here. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Who wants to share introduction?
I'll share. I'm Gail.
Hi, Gail. Hi.
Hi, I am equal partners with Barry in our business, and I was going to say something clever, and now I've forgotten it. But I wanted to introduce myself. we thought we were retired, and it just didn't work. Barry had too much energy, and I too have energy, although I do a lot of volunteering, and I keep the home together while Barry's out doing his thing, and I give him my 2 cents at the end of the day. So we've been married a very long time, and it works. The system works for us. So I appreciate all of you being here and giving us what you do. And nice to meet you, Matt. And that's it.
Well, nice meeting you, Gail. And thanks for joining us here. All right, so who wants to go next? How about Jan from Philippines? Or Jericho?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Oh, yeah. Hi,
Hi.
Matt. Yeah, so I'll be speaking for Jen.
Okay, go
as
ahead,
you
please.
know, we work together, yeah. Good evening, everyone from my side. Oh, actually, it's 2 a.m. here.
Well, thanks for staying up so late over there. I thought probably over midnight, or actually 2 or 3 a.m.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Mhm. Anyway, just a short introduction. I'm from Zero In Concept and Production. It's basically an events production and below-the-line marketing agency. So we are trying out eZ-XPO for just a week, right, Matt? And we have a lot of questions, as you know, in terms of the user experience. So that's really our curiosity, because expos are something that the companies has been involved for a few years, because we help the clients market their product by, you know, helping them execute their booth setup in expos or their segment in the in whatever expo they're joining. So our need
Can you
basically
share
is
with
more
the
on
what
the
specific
user
industry you
experience.
focus on?
The biggest clients we have are pharmaceutical companies. So like conventions for doctors, and so of course it's sponsored by pharmaceutical companies, and so they set up their booth and have their segment from time to time during the program. So basically, we just have a lot of questions about user experience, because we want to make the experience of a virtual expo as intuitive for the attendees as possible, especially because a lot of them are doctors, so they really don't want to, you know, jump around too much. Like if they enter a venue, they want the experience to be as efficient, I guess, as possible, considering how busy these people are. So yeah, that's all I have to say, really. So if I'm going to if we are going to
What other platform have
with
you evaluated before you decided on eZ-XPO?
Well, we just looked into a few. I mentioned about Hop-In. I think it's a new company. It's a startup, I think, that started in 2019. And I personally experienced joining an expo or a conference using that platform. So that's that's the only platform that we evaluate, that we personally tried. And then we asked around, and as one of you guys mentioned, eZ-XPO is one of those cost-effective platforms out there. So that's why we have tried eZ-XPO.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we actually are running a virtual conference for American Diabetic Association as we speak right now, with all the top pharmaceutical companies. All right, great. Anyone else want to share?
Sure, Matt. This is Andy in New York.
Hey, Andy, how are you doing?
Doing okay, doing okay. And we're out on Long Island, and we do a minority expo for connecting certified minority businesses with governmental agencies. And we're planning to use your platform to make that connection. We for the last couple of years, we've had the largest conference of that type, but with COVID-19, we're looking to move that to a virtual space, and we're really excited about using your platform to make that happen.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I mean, just want to, I think Andy and Tanya, they're actually one of the first few early adopters as well. Yeah. So, definitely you want to talk to Eric. I think they're all both in the same area. See how we can collaborate there. All right. So, anyone else want to share an introduction?
Hi, everybody. I thought I'd introduce
Hi,
myself.
Michael.
I'm Michael Graham. I'm California-based freelance technical consultant. My background is in consumer technology and photography, so I've been specializing in supporting said technology and helping photographers, mainly managing their libraries, managing their work digitally. I'm with Barry, and I can confirm that Barry and Gail have endless supplies of energy.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? All right, so okay, I think we should just continue, and then we're gonna finish by noon. How's that? So I know everybody's gonna be on this for over 3 hours. I'm gonna make it short on the walkthrough on the platform, and show you what needs to be done. For your first assignment, actually, it would be fairly simple. Let me share the screen. All right, so can anyone see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is what what you expect to see when actually after you sign up. You will go directly to the exhibit hall, and this is the virtual booth. And some of you already created a booth, and your assignment for this week is to work on that, providing all the information and stuff like that. And what I want to do is we do have tutorials that actually I put it right here. All these tutorials, you can actually go in and actually check it out. But I will go through it today as well. So next week, we will dive into more detailed information on how to do things and stuff like that. Let's say you go to the booth. Right. Well, the background booth screen you can actually change out, and then you can actually have a chat over here. Okay, this is where you actually have a chat with the incoming attendees, both privately and as a group. Now you can do a video chat, but I wouldn't open it because I already have the Zoom on. This is what you can do with a Zoom meeting. Just put a link there. Okay, so these are banners. You can actually put information. There could be a link to your site, or it could be a PDF or videos. So those are sort of things that you can do. Now the platform on the back end tracks everything. So you have all the analytics, like who comes to your booth, how long they stay, what content people view. So let me just go. Okay, let me just go inside the dashboard here. Now this is the exhibitor booth or sponsor booth. They're actually the same function, similar function. Couple of things you would do. This is the theme. You can actually change out the theme. All right. It could be, let's say you want to do a breakout session, right? So this is something you want to do, right? Update the theme on the background. Or if you don't like any of this theme, you can upload your graphic as well. So those are all possible. Okay. Now on the private label list, this is what you can do. Now, there's quite a bit of function here. I mean, most people probably not going to use all of them. All these social media links, you can put it there. But the one that I think is quite useful is the external URL. Okay. This is the one that you want to insert a link. Could be a Zoom link. It could be a webinar link. It could be anything. It could be a downloadable link. It doesn't matter, right? So this will put you there, and I already did one over here. See right there. Now I also created a discussion board right there at the bottom section right here, right? It goes to the right column, right? That's why you can put it on the left side, but the right side better to keep everything on the right side for ongoing engagement and stuff like that. Now, let me just go to the booth. I already created a booth. This is what you need to do. Go to booth, upload your logo, add a video. Right, so I already did. Now, if you don't have the video, that's okay. You can upload the graphics. Okay. The video has to be embedded code, like an iframe, like YouTube or any video portal that actually have iframe. That's easy enough. For the add content, this is where you actually add content, right? So right here, you can feature content. You can do it by sequence. You can set up certain dates, but we don't have to do that. Just make it simple. Once you add it, it will be, you got to add this title. If you don't add this title, it will not display. Okay, so that's one thing. Now, once you add a title, you will add all the individual contents, like this guy right here. Add content. So you can insert a link or URL or embedded code or actual files. So those are a couple of things you can do. Now let's see what it looks like on the front. So that's what it looks like. Okay, see the link right there. So it should not take no more than 30 minutes to create your booth. Some even take 5-10 minutes. The key is to make it simple. All right, so let me go back here. So that's your assignment for this week, and just create your booth, right? That is the core component of any virtual expo or virtual conference. So let's see here. Let me just go to the auditorium. Now this is the auditorium. We can actually live stream over here, but I just want to make it simple. Next week we'll live stream over here through the Zoom. I also found another webinar called Big Marker. They actually has the iframe embedded code that you can actually live stream the webinar inside here. I have tested, it works, so that will be another option. Because a lot of private conference, they don't want to share with YouTube or public. That is one of the downside with the YouTube Live. And I asked Zoom many times, they don't have that, embedded webinar with iframe code. So that is something, it's not there. So, but there's an option, there are multiple options. You can use a Vimeo, you can use, like I said, Big Market, so make it private. The way it works is that once you actually embed it, then you can actually have a Q&A session over here. And that's why I think this is really a powerful feature. All right, so now other networks, this is where you can connect all the dots, just like what William showed their Ambition network ecosystem. You can do the same, but start with one, right? That's what I would recommend everyone to do. Another cool thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to creating a brand new virtual education network. Now, this is what we're going to do is kind of replace the Slack channel because I don't think we will find it useful for education, training, and sort of thing. By having this, we can actually invite subject matter expertise like William to have their own booth. They can actually showcase and share the expertise and actually be a consultant to everyone. All right, so with that, let me just stop and open up for any Q&A.
This is Andy.
Hi, Andy.
Yeah. On the earlier demos, that were shown and demonstrated today, I noticed that the menu in the header had a lobby, exhibition hall, auditorium, network lounge. The demo that you're doing does not have a lobby. Is there a reason why?
It's not required. The lobby is designed for, like, you have multiple session tracks. That is something to be nice to have. But in our case, we try to make it simple here.
Okay, so with the future platforms, the future platforms will have an exhibition hall as opposed to a lobby. Is that correct?
No, the exhibit hall is there. Having a lobby is when you have multiple session tracks. We will go through that in more details next week.
Okay.
But for this week, we try to make it simple.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of you still early, just starting out.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing up that question, because we found that a lot of customers actually, there are actually three key components that almost everybody is looking for. The exhibit hall is the very critical component. I can tell you right now, 9 out of 10 sign up with eZ-XPO because of the exhibit hall. 9 out of 10. Because the reason for that is that Zoom is great, but it does not track all these marketing analytics. You cannot do Zoom with Expo. Because it's just not designed that way. So a lot of customers are saying, okay, we can use Zoom, but Zoom is not equal to Virtual Expo. So it's the apple to orange comparison.
And I have a question. It's Barry.
Yeah.
Do you have a presentation that as a canned presentation of some kind, that as an example, I want to go present to the Chamber of Commerce of India, that there's a presentation that I can give them as a user of our service? Or do I have to make that up myself, or do you have a template? That's the question.
We have a presentation, pretty generic. You can kind of paste and make any changes. We don't have a presentation for Chamber of Commerce, but I'm sure you can talk to Mike Hayes and Eric.
Yeah. I wasn't specifically asking for the chamber. I just as a template to use.
We have a template. The short answer is yes.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question too, Matt, and a couple of comments. I do have a lot of chamber content, Barry, if you'd like to reach out and we could kind of swap some info on that, including interviews with chambers, presidents, etc. Happy to share with you. Now, a question too, and maybe a bit of homework. Could you tell us, Matt, how many more weeks are you going to do this boot camp? It seems to me if we could get a copy of this video, reach out in the meantime with it to some chambers or other organizations, tease them with that, and then invite them back to next week's meeting.
Yeah, let me just touch on that. The virtual boot camp is not designed for clients' engagement. This is really for anyone interested in becoming a more like a reseller or deeper, looking for a deeper understanding of the platform. So we will have virtual boot camp on a quarterly basis. I think the short answer is yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Ray, do you have any questions? No.
Now I'm going to walk you through on the back end for the organizer. Okay, this is the link I actually sent everyone. Now you can see there's a top menu bars right there, right? And you can hide some company they don't want to do their events registration over here. They actually might use Eventbrite or other event management software, so they actually can hide all these menu bars. All they will do is just attendee. Now, what you need to do is when you talk about onboarding, we actually have videos on that, on onboarding for attendees and exhibitor. Make sure that you watch those videos. That covered 90% of your questions. So the attendee is basically you send a link to everybody. They can actually register. Exhibitor, same thing. Now let me just walk you through the banners. You can actually change out the banners. I'm going to walk you through inside how that you're going to change that. So this is the front end. All right. Now I'm going to sign in as a organizer. See right there, I have two set up. So, and I go to edit. All right, so first thing first, right, is the name, domain, subdomain name, and the bottom section is just the logo. Now, Andy asked the question about, the lobby, right? If I selected yes on the session track, then the lobby will show up. So that answered that question. That's easy enough. On the homepage setup, banner setup, this is the area that you need to add the graphics on the front end, right? That's what you see on the front end. I have 3. Same thing for the video, home video. Same thing, you can use the iframe, embedded code for that. pricing. This is where you actually add the pricing, okay? Right now, it's a default. We have a default pricing for most. When anyone actually sign up, you will have a default pricing, but this is how you can change it. Right now is, yep. Okay, now let me go to lobby setup. Theme selection. Now this is where you can actually swap out the graphics. Now we have some of these templates here. But if you don't like any of these, you can actually upload yours. You know, let me be honest with you. We don't have too many graphics. That's not our strength. But that's more opportunity for others to join force with us, right? Same thing for the booth selection. We have some, but actually, like I said, you know, you can always upload any other graphics to select whatever you want over here. All right, so now, if you want to add user, this is where you can add user. Okay, let's say you want to add an attendee. I'm talking from an organizer perspective. So you can add user, now not exhibitor, just attendee. All right, so make sure you make sure you don't mix it up with the two. You can export all the users with the contact information. Now we are finishing off with a new feature, import. So you will be able to import user lists because a lot of customers are using different software. So we'll be able to import it. All right, so that is kind of the next for this week. Let me open up for any Q&A. Any questions?
It's a lot of information to absorb. I will tell you that part.
Yeah, Barry, we have a lot of tutorials inside the booth and also the link I sent you.
Yes.
Feel free to really spend at least half a day for minimum 3 days to walk through it.
Yep.
This is one of the things about bootcamp is that we can only provide you the information to how to, but then the key is to actually go do it, and that is the challenge, you know, and that's why we don't want to pack. Typical bootcamp is like 3 days, you know, boom, boom, boom. I think that's not going to work with most people. That's why we want to have a 3 weekends. So once this is over, you can actually go in there and actually try to build it and watch those tutorials. All right. Any other questions? We're going to go over quite a few things. Next week I think we will continue on the kind of the overall discussion about how we can help all these in-person company or organization to go virtual. I mean, I think that's the biggest challenge now. Every day I'm inundated with customer requests. Some are pretty urgent to host virtual events, but they never done it before. So I think that actually it's an opportunity for everyone. All right, so
Matt, I have one final comment.
Yeah.
I do an awful lot of networking. I drop into digital networking events all the time.
Yeah.
There's kind of two groups. There's one group that is really struggling and flailing. And I literally have been in breakout rooms where everybody in the room had jumped into the digital adoption, which Bill Gates has been sped up by 10 to 15 years. And those people that have really jumped into the water with both feet of digital adoption, every one of them had doubled their income, literally.
Yeah.
So it's really like all or nothing. Jump in, go for it. Huge opportunities. Wait around and struggle, possibly face setbacks or even obsolescence. So I think this is a great opportunity, Matt. Thank you for putting it on.
Well, thank you, Mike, for bringing that up. It's like I mentioned on the slide deck here. I mean, the opportunity is just amazing. But I think you have to start somewhere. I mean, I think the biggest challenge is not to get started. There are probably thousands of questions you have on the platform. Well, they're never-ending questions. But I think the key is start something small, something simple. Not over worry about whatever. You might have glitches. I guarantee you. But you got to get started. Not just asking. Not worrying about whatever. And this whole thing is really the big picture. Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Matt, for a very introductive view of this, and it's been very helpful. So thank you.
Well, thanks for your support, and like I said, our platform is not perfect, but it has a lot of strengths. It also have room for improvements, just like any other platform, like I mentioned before. But our goal is to help people to build out the network ecosystem, right? So nobody has a solution to cover all, to address all these challenges. None. Absolutely none. Not vFair, not 6Connect, not On24. Absolutely none. Zero. Only eZ-XPO right now to have a cost-effective solution to get it out there and start building out the network ecosystem so that people won't have to pay thousands of dollars for this.
Matt, when will
this right here? I mean, this whole thing is what we try to help companies to save money and be productive. All right, with that, I thank everyone for joining this first kickoff. And if you have any feedback, please feel free to email me. And we'll look forward to meeting more people in next week, same time. All right.
Thanks, Matt.
Yes, Mike.
No,
please.
I say thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining, and hope you find this first kickoff productive.
Matt, are you going to make the video available, the recording?
Everything is actually recorded, actually, yeah.
Okay, all right.
I'll share the link to everyone after it's over.
All right, thank you.
Matt, should we connect on the Slack channel or?
Well, we will use the Slack channel as more like a communication tool for instant messaging. But as far as the education part, it's not designed for that. You know, we will have a, I've created the, this right here. The whole point is that a lot of people, I mean, a lot of newcomers have the basic questions, you know, how to get started. So Slack channel is not the perfect way to do that. And we're gonna have, we haven't finished, but the whole idea is that we're gonna have different modules for different, you know, different areas. So that's what we're going to be working on.
All right. Very good.
All right. Well, thank you for everyone for all your support, and look forward to meeting everyone same time next week.
Great.
Meanwhile, try to get your virtual booth up and running. So by next week, so that we can actually go into your virtual booth and actually have a productive meeting after this session is over.